The new Waverley Netball Centre hosts the key match-up in the 95 Mobil League between Melbourne Pumas and Adelaide Contacts. Only 18, Eloise Southby looks a future champion shooter. With her up front for Melbourne, Danny Arnott. Theirs is a formidable midcourt with Michelle Bennison, Ingrid Dick and the world's finest wing defence in Simone McInnes. There's plenty of height, speed and agility at the back with Liz Taverner and Janine Lynch. Well, Contacts have had an unsettled season, at least as far as selections go, although there's never been any question about who starts as goal shooter. With Vicky Wilson today is Sharon Purser. Lining up in the midcourt are Audine Cobb, Rebecca Sanders and Vicky Neal, while at the back is the only combination that hasn't been disrupted, Aussie defenders Kath Harvey and Sarah Sutter. Well, Melbourne may be unbeaten, but it's a month since they hit the court and they can ill afford to have a sluggish start against the league champions Contacts. Intriguing contests all up and down the court, but the goal third, Anne Sargent, should hold the key.
I think so. It's interesting. It's really hard to predict this match, and it holds a lot of interest because whilst Melbourne defeated Garville, I really felt in that match, and I don't mean to take anything away from Melbourne, that Garville were a little under in the game. I thought they were very relaxed and really didn't lift for the game. And Melbourne really have to have another test now in playing Contacts. We've admitted that Contacts really has been struggling for lineup right across that attacking third, and you know they're still hunting for it. They're down on their performance from last year. It will come down to the ends, and the circle in that really interests me is whether Arnott and Southby will hold up against the strength of Sutter and Harvey, because that's a strong defensive combination, one that I think will be fired up because Contacts are hunting for a really good performance, and it could be a big test for Melbourne.
Melbourne centre Ingrid Dick gets us underway. The uniforms are a little similar, but Melbourne in the all-blue skirts. And on attack now. Southby denied possession by the touch from Sutter, but it's going to be a Contacts ball, so mishandled by Melbourne.
Yes, I think the touch from Sutter just clipped onto Danny Arnott's fingers. But you remember when we watched Melbourne tackle Garville, they were slow and hesitant to start in that game, but stayed in the contest and, you know, ran Garville down.
Turnovers are plenty in the first minute. And McInnes, ooh, I'd like to see her get the ankle wobbles in the middle of the court there. She just checks the court. Meanwhile, Bennison looking to feed and Arnott to shoot.
What a great start, and of course their performance in goals has been a feature of this team.
Both Southby and Arnott are shooting 79%. Now there's some water on the court, according to Jan Cross, umpire on the far side. And perhaps that's where Simone McInnes had her slip.
Simone drawing that to the umpire's attention, and back in action.
So Melbourne on the board first. Here's Purser. Steps into where there was no defender, and we'll get the second go. Purser getting the start ahead of Angove, Sarah Angove, who's been left out of the starting seven, as has Monica Dinan. So two names very familiar to Mobil League viewers out of the Contact seven. They really have had to chop and change around changes in form and one or two injuries.
Well, the hardship for them, they have an import the calibre of Vicky Wilson, yet haven't been able to capitalise on it because they just can't get that forward line, particularly the positions, wing attack, goal attack across the transverse line. Haven't had them settle as they almost lose Vicky Wilson with a knock from Taverner, and that was welcome to Melbourne, Vicky Wilson.
Norma Plummer on the left, the Melbourne Pumas coach.
Taverner out onto the ball, but of course takes Wilson square in the back.
Cobb. Purser's open.
And Steve, whilst we've talked about the injuries floating around the Australian lineup, Ellis with the back, O'Donnell recovering from back, Wilson is another who guards her back warily, and of course in a couple of matches she's really been open for a lot of attention. She's a key player and she does attract quite a bit of physical work from goalkeepers.
Well, she missed her first attempt today, which is a little bit of a bugbear of hers. Doesn't like to miss the first shot, but it's happened again. She's got the second one.
Footwork then against Wilson, but unsighted by Jan Cross.
I think everyone but her saw it. Certainly there were some groans from behind us.
Contact, centre.
And I'm just so pleased, Dan, to see this venue, beautiful new venue, sold out for this contest.
Well, it's the second time that the Mobil League's come to the venue, and the second time it's been a sellout. So the Waverley Centre doing really well, and just a showpiece for not only Victorian netball but Australian netball.
Time Janine Lynch having the heavy clash with Wilson. Mark Angove on the left, contacts coach, and her side enjoying the early lead.
Instruction, wing defence.
Arnott. Southby has to give it back. Did well just to do that. Southby there for the rebound.
Well, Southby lacking no height, and while she might have outstanding elevation, the timing on that rebound good.
McInnes, trademark intercept. Taverner can't keep it in though, so Vicky Neal in the throw-in. Cobb to Harvey. Sanders breaks away from Ingrid Dick. Cobb bounces into Purser. Wilson free after quite a useful move. Benison.
Steve, this is a big match for Melbourne Waverley Pumas, playing, of course, in front of a home crowd, but also a lot of pride in the camp. There is a sense, or a feeling I sense from them, that they feel a lot of people don't really see them as contenders, as good as some of their performances have been, and I think they'd really like to push it home that they're every bit as good as everyone else in the competition and might well find their way into the final.
So Sarah Angove and Monica Dynan. Sarah, the daughter of the coach, of course.
Barney's moved too soon.
And really, Sarah's shooting form has not been what she or her mum would have liked. She finds herself on the bench at the start of this match. Angove in about 2.5 games only put up 26 attempts for 14 goals, 54%. Not quite enough. Purser shooting 76% in nearly 3 games, or 3 and a bit games. Wilson.
Almost intercepting a pass to Purser. But that was contacts in flight. Floating ball to the corner to Cobb, and she puts a lofty one. I think it was going to Purser, but Wilson able to collect as well.
Now Wilson on range. 5.5 minutes gone. Contacts by 2.
A couple of calls have come from Maureen Boyle against Vicky Neal, both for holding and causing contact. So she's obviously very keen to cut out that type of dangerous play that can really set up an unsighted player and cause injury.
Sanders to Neal. Purser. Cobb. Wilson. Well worked by contacts and clinically finished. Norma Plummer side has 4 wins, no losses so far. And I guess part of the reason that some people are sceptical about Melbourne's run to this point is that 3 of their 4 victories have been over the bottom 3 teams in Brisbane, the AIS and Perth. But they've also beaten Garvel, who are the top team.
So it really lies ahead of them to show us what they can do, but you'd have to say a far superior performance from the Victorian side than we've seen from other Victorian entries.
So that goal not counting. Something against Eloise Southby, picked out by Maureen Boyle. Great pass to Wilson. And they applaud, I think it was Vicky Neal.
Catherine Harvey finds Vicky Neal, and she changes direction, swings it across court to Wilson on the drive on the base.
Go in.
This game with a delightful start. I mean, there's some wonderful skills on court. It's a close running game. Both teams really hungry.
Contact.
Sanders can't pick up Purser cleanly. But the contact call allows her this shot and allows Lynch the rebound. McInnes, Benison.
Advantage obstruction, wing attack.
Benison, oh, great ball to Arnott. How did that get past Harvey?
Benison off balance, delivers a beautiful pass into Arnott. She's steady on the shot.
Wing attack, contact.
Purser. Sanders to Wilson. And 9-6. Cobb.
Contact, wing defence. Centre third. Short pass. Free pass in the circle. Top of the circle. Where you are.
Maureen Boyle and Jan Cross umpiring here. The short pass called from Jan Cross. You know, I think that's a call underused. I sometimes think that little half bounce pass at the edge of the circle is often guilty of a short pass.
Yeah, and I think people that aren't au fait with netball rules wouldn't see that and understand it. It's not, of course, from foot to foot, but it's the release from fingertip to fingertip, so that there has to be room for a third person to move between the two people passing. So if it is a fingertip pass with arms fully extended on the part of both attacking players, then it could well be a short pass, irrespective of where their feet are planted. Oh, pressure over the ball from Taverner. Really forced.
I think, yes, Simone just touched the top of the circle with a foot. Purser.
We'll have to take McInnes off rations then, because we've watched her so many times dance the edge of the circle and never go in. Maybe she's gone up half a size in her shoes.
Arnott.
Southby really releasing that then, because they had both feeding players on the same direction and they really needed a contrary option.
Advantage, forcing.
Benison showing off the bodysuit and they hit the deck anyway.
Cobb, Purser, Wilson. This for a 5-goal lead.
Janine Lynch having little impression over Vicky Wilson's shot. Wilson with 9 straight. The only miss that first one you mentioned earlier, Steve, so she's really recovered from 2 heavy falls. Lynch yet to sort out and make an impression over the shot. But she's in good company. Many have failed in that respect.
Contact's a bright start to this match. 4 minutes left first quarter. A low-scoring first quarter for Melbourne. Only 6 goals to show for their effort. Arnott really did have to get rid of it. The little delay in establishing control of the ball was soaking up time. Cobb, good to see her back in the contacts line. She didn't make the trip to Brisbane, did she?
No, and I think we commented that perhaps she was lacking from the lineup. They really missed her. And I think we might have preempted this combination in the midcourt, Steve. You think Margango's been listening to you?
I doubt that.
I know you were.
Well, she might have been listening, but not taking notes.
I'm sure you suggested Sanders was a definite option for you in the centre, and that Cobb would be useful on the wing.
Contact. Penalty pass on court.
Vicky Wilson looking tired. She's gotten up from the floor, and she has hit it a few times, must admit, but in a very tired fashion for what is just the first quarter. Won't be any easier in the last quarter.
No. You can bet Melbourne at home will press this home.
Oh, nice ball from Southby, cross court to Ingrid Dick.
Arnott. Melbourne need a couple in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the quarter. They don't want to lose touch too early.
Melbourne need more possession in the circle because they've got 2 delightful shooters. You ought to put the hex on them. Never fails, but not enough possession in the circle.
Pretty smart play in defence there by Sutter. She came forward, then stepped back to cut off the option of the pass. You know, 1 on 2 there, she did a good job, and then ended up missing the shot.
Well, that's the key when you're in a 2-on-1 situation. You've really got to keep presenting ideas to the feeder and changing and moving around. I mean, if you stand still, you make it very clear where the spaces are and where they aren't, and you want to confuse the feeder and put some hesitancy there.
Cobb, Purser. It's Contacts who might press home towards the end of the quarter, but one missed. Oh, the post gets in the way of Liz Taverner.
Own goal.
Oh, worried Norma Plummer. 6 the lead, 1:20 left in the quarter. Southby.
Oh, Harvey always had it, but Neil attracting against the whistle.
Yes.
Penalty count pretty even between the two teams. 50-50-ish.
Southby's goal. Oh, intercept from Arnott, but it's straight back to Sanders.
And the advantage being allowed to play on. Danny Arnott having a little romp in the wrong end of the court.
Wilson.
Swisher from Wilson. Taking her to 13 straight. Quite a recovery. Maybe it's in her interest to miss the first goal in each game just to fire her up.
Maureen Boyle ducks out of the way of the ball heading her way. Last minute, first quarter. Vicky Neal from the side. Back to Harvey. Long ball up for Wilson because she's conscious of little time left in the quarter, or thought that Wilson was open. The goalers didn't look to have that much room.
The last couple of plays down that end have really revolved around the goalpost and not in the normal way we use it.
Oh, great shot. Danny Arnott. Now the timekeeper's up, and so it'll be Melbourne who gets the last goal of the quarter.
On the whistle.
Sanders, Cobb, and not even time to get it to the circle. An important last goal of the quarter for Melbourne. They keep the margin to 5, but Contacts making a bright start to this important match. Contacts 15, Melbourne 10, first quarter. Melbourne Waverley Pumas needing a bit of a lift in the second quarter, trailing 15-10, and the first quarter stats belong pretty much to Vicky Wilson, although Sharon Purser's not too shabby either.
Well, Sharon Purser, of course, with the accuracy 2 from 2, but I prefer to have the 13 from 14 that Vicky Wilson enjoys as goal shooter for Contacts, because the volume is there and 92% truly world class. For the Pumas, Eloise Southby with 4 from 5, so she's opened well with 80%. But most of the flamboyance came from Danny Arnott with some really delightful long-range shots, swishes, all of them. At 66%, she'll want to lift the accuracy, but still a good opening from her.
Contacts in that first quarter only put up 2 more attempts than Melbourne, but won the quarter by 5. And that's what accurate shooting will do for you. Harvey, that classic shoulder pass to Wilson, to Purser.
Purser doing well to gather it because it was well behind her.
Ingrid Dick, Michelle Bennison, Eloise Southby, daughter of a famous footballer.
Drag, free pass outside the circle.
Jeff Southby, was it? The Carlton player?
Mr. Southby.
Okay.
Off the arm, pass or shot.
Arnott, Bennison, Ingrid Dick. So a couple of minutes gone. Second quarter. 4 the margin now.
Long bomb from Eloise Southby.
On the ball, pass or shot.
Known in netball circles as a swisher. The shot, that is, not Eloise. Well, the crowd doing everything it can to lift the Melbourne Waverley Pumas.
Turnover here, they can get the margin back to 3.
In fact, there's an intensity on court that normally is held only for the fourth quarter as Eloise swishes through another with a great start for Melbourne.
Norma Palmer should be pleased. She's holding back the emotions at the moment. But got another close match on our hands here.
Just hold it till she's out of play, outside the circle.
Southby shows a lot more composure than her years would suggest she's entitled to, as Arnott puts one through.
Contact!
Well, Purser did well to retrieve, but it's Melbourne on the charge. Arnott had to hold it up. Southby. And 5-1, Melbourne have taken control of this quarter. Benison, nice take from Arnott. She waits for the challenge from Sutter, and 16 all.
Watch Benison, delightful change of direction. Arnott will finish it well.
Harvey restarts. Purser. Oh.
A sure shot from her.
With some confidence, puts that one away.
She really hammered that one. There was never any doubt in her mind, and they really needed that sort of confidence contacts because they're under pressure.
Oh, Southby to the post. Oh, is she just out?
Just a touch of drama to her play.
She gets the intercept, though.
Well, she was really frustrated that she'd slid out of court. Really just couldn't put the brakes on, but happy now.
Way to make good, Eloise Southby.
Southby with 6 from 8 for this second quarter. Danny Arnott 7 from 8. So a few mistakes from Mingols as Purser hauls that in. That really looked like it was going over the base, but she's got such a span.
Great stretch. Wilson puts the dodge on. Taverner couldn't stick with her. And contacts nose ahead again. Arnott, Benison, Southby.
Well, the defending champion status that is afforded contacts has made little difference to their opponents. They've shown them very little respect.
Well, there's an offside call against contacts there. Just wondering why Melbourne got the ball back, but I think it was against Sanders stepping into the circle. So a chance to equalise for the umpteenth time this quarter.
As Arnott just forces a way through off the base.
Oh, yes.
Sutter was up there to haul in the rebound, but it just had enough spin on it that it came back. Melbourne just running against the centre now. Had they had the centre after that, they really would have had the chance to hit the lead, but the centre's just running towards contacts.
Wilson lucky to get that one back. She was trying to play the sneaky bounce pass to Purser. Hit a Melbourne defender. It's worked out Melbourne's way now, though.
Retake the penalty.
This will be the chance for Melbourne to hit the front, then gain their centre.
And there's time enough to do it in the quarter. 1:20.
Needs steady heads now, the young Melbourne side.
Benison. Southby. Sanders the contact.
Where you are?
Ingrid Dick. And, oh, they've spilt it.
Well, the experience of Sutter paying dividends. She sat back knowing that the hands of Southby were ready for the flick on.
Very tall goal defender.
Harvey to Wilson.
Oh, taken by Janine Lynch. Sensational intercept. She put the foot down in the last couple of strides.
Wants it again. Benison backs her up. Tries to get rid of Neil.
Well, Neil running through on her, even when you run past and you want to have that defensive stance that Neil assumes.
This for the lead.
I think they noticed.
Yeah. And timing their run to a nicety, Melbourne, with less than a minute left. Second quarter.
Time is up.
Sanders.
Two off the contacts bench, warming up behind the stadium.
And ending the second quarter with a real burst, and a number of the crowd to their feet here at Waverley. It's not the end of the match, only half-time. But Melbourne Pumas, after being down by 5 at quarter-time, lead by 2 at half-time. What a match. Melbourne Pumas 26, Adelaide Contacts 24. Underway in the third quarter. Contacts making a host of changes. More about that shortly. Let's look at the shooting stats, Anne.
And Melbourne Pumas having a fine quarter, particularly through Danny Arnott, 9 from 10, 90%. And Eloise Southby, fine form as well, 70%. For Contacts, sitting both in the 70s, in fact, both on 75. Vicky Wilson with 6 from 8. And Purser a little quieter, as we saw actually in the first. The volume not there for her, 3 from 4. So Pumas really enjoying both the edge on possession, 20 as opposed to 12, but also on the accuracy.
Just while you're talking, Anna, a general warning issued from Maureen Boyle. No more rough stuff down to camera right end.
Well, I was about to say to you before we went to the stats that Monica Dinan has replaced Neil at wing defence, but ironically her entry into the game was a warning from Maureen Boyle to say you're causing, and that's exactly how Neil started the game as well.
And you'll notice that Sarah Angove is on, taking a shot there, an important one. So Sarah Angove is on for Sharon Purser at goal attack for Contacts. Vicky Neal has moved from wing defence to centre. Rebecca Sanders is off. And Monica Dinan on as wing defence. So Marg Angove not waiting till the situation gets any worse before ringing the changes. And we'll hope that she's not hindered by injuries, because she's made 2 subs reasonably early. Melbourne won the second quarter. Cobb looking for Wilson. Strong hands, sees her gain possession.
Wilson just working overtime to fight for some space. It is not open netball from Contacts, so really the spaces are few and they're shut down, and Wilson having to work overtime.
And she was called for the held ball. Melbourne by 1. 2 minutes gone, third quarter. Arnott, Southby, Benison. Ingrid Dick nearly denied by Dinan. He's got substantial strapping on the right knee. Southby again. Arnott. Oh, timed the shot.
And if memory serves me well, Steve, when Melbourne hit the front against Garville, they made a few mistakes. They played steady possession netball, and I think we're seeing evidence of that from them now. Contacts, if anything, are looking a little in panic mode and in chase netball, and it's early for that to be happening from a team as experienced as they are.
And what's also working against them is that they've made these changes. The line's got to take a couple of minutes to settle. Miss from Sarah Angove. Taverner to McInnes. Lynch. Sorry, Ingrid Dick.
Ingrid Dick, I was waiting for her to turn back onto the ball and realised that they left the centre court open for her to drive. Again, Dinan attracting some whistle.
Ingrid Dick to Benison. Harvey gathers. Sutter. Neal to Angove.
Oh, McInnes, I was waiting for her to eat that. Angove really had little vision of McInnes's approach.
Vicky Wilson almost seemed to adjust that shot as she was taking it. As the challenge went up, just put a little more elevation on it. And it found its mark. 4 minutes gone, third quarter, 2 goals in it. Southby back to Benison. Arnott's shot. Again, she waits for Harvey's challenge. Some young fans here really enjoying the contest and the fact that Melbourne are in front.
What really works well for the Melbourne goalers is not too much movement, but more holding to the very last second on their timing and then popping out one-step offers. And it's quite a hard thing to contest. And the placement and the timing around the circle is very nice from them. And if you watch, there's really not an overkill of movement from either of them. It's really just holding, waiting, and then that step out onto the ball.
Wilson just palms it off almost for Engo.
Well, she set it up well. She looked across the court to Neil, looking like she'd pass and drive. Can't drop that one, though.
Lynch had the strong rebound. She's got it again now. 2 defenders on McInnes, but that opens up others. Mistake, though. And contacts in possession through Sutter. Harvey.
Oh, it dropped short. There was good pressure over it from Southby, but the backup good from Melbourne too. They're hungry, this young team.
Keeper, hold in front of the post. Arms are out. Yes.
Throw in.
Okay.
4 is the lead now for Melbourne. 8:20 left, third quarter.
Advantage hold. Weak defence. Save offside.
Oh, the timing there for Southby. She'd sucked Sutter into the back move and the front open for her.
Wing defender outside.
I'm sure they'll welcome the rest to collect the ball. It's being played at a frantic pace. And again, Southby lacking the speed, but that's a step called against her.
And picked up by Lynch. Gives a smile to McInnes.
Just waiting for something to offer. McInnes in too late to help.
Goal third.
But it's an offside called against Audine Cobb, but I didn't see it. I thought she was quite safely within the third, but Maureen Ball in better position.
Contact centre.
I think Simone McInnes thought the contact had come before the offside, but she was quite happy to concede.
Throwing contacts.
31-27. Halfway through, third term. Dinan to Harvey, straight to McInnes, Australian teammate.
Well, Harvey was really expecting Audine Cobb to continue the drive to the ball. When she pulled out, Harvey had already started to let it go. You could see the frustration on her face, encouraging a team now to get on the move at the ball, attack.
Cobb, Wilson.
Instruction, keeper.
Pressure's been good over the ball from Melbourne, but creeping in was Liz Taverner to draw an obstruction. It's one back.
Norma Plummer. Not much difference in her expression from when they were down to when she's up. I mean, coaches hold it all back till the end, don't they?
Well, she's been really composed on the sidelines. She's now just anxious that they continue the work.
McInnes.
Contact, wing attack. Where you are.
Benison waits for a move. As for Ingrid Dick now, they get more settled in the circle.
Instruction,
A
centre.
little sloppy.
Instruction, keeper, pass or shot inside. Yes.
Sutter seemed very happy to accommodate that quickly.
And Harvey's eyes were just cast in the wrong direction for half a second. Melbourne punish. Benison.
Oh, swing defender, Melbourne
into
penalty.
Dynan, and she gets called for causing.
No more. Time, please.
Dynan setting up an unsighted Michelle Benison.
The players and the court
Back next to a wing defence. On the whistle.
right to continue.
Adage offside.
There's a lot of movement in the circle. And 5 the lead for Melbourne. That's their biggest margin so far. Angove.
Talk about swinging play. It's crossed about 4 times in that approach. No easy way to the contact circle. They're really working for it.
Adage break, wing defence. Contact, wing.
Contact against Audine Cobb. Ingrid Dick has it. Michelle Benison.
Defender.
Maureen Boyle is growing a little impatient with Monica Dynan, and she's only been on the court for 10 minutes.
She just copped another one then. And the rule states you don't really have to warn anybody. They can be removed from the game without warning. But once they have been warned, it really intensifies the situation because there's really very little place to go other than off if you persist in continuing with that warning behaviour.
Contact against Wilson.
Oh, delightful take from Michelle Benison, really exploiting her athleticism, and Melbourne are pulling it all out for the home crowd.
Well, what critics there are of Melbourne will be pretty much silenced by this effort through the first 3 quarters. Marg Angove's changes to the line at half-time haven't done the job.
Goalkeeper, you're holding. Just there.
Against Sutter.
Shoot of contact.
Harvey. Cobb. Oh, nice ball threaded through to Neil. Wilson. Better get rid of it. That was nearly 3 seconds.
Yeah, you spooked her.
Well, I thought by the time she repossessioned, and she's been warned by Jan Cross. I don't think there was much in that. If there was, I guess it's a sign of frustration. Things not going Contact's way.
Wing attack.
Contact.
Harvey, as we've learned to expect, never saying die. She's trying to rev it up, trying to encourage her team, but it's just falling apart for them. That's a better turn, but even that one isn't hauled in.
Were you surprised at all that Rebecca Sanders was one of the ones to come off?
I think so. I was trying to work out the reasoning for the change, and I can only gather maybe it was to strengthen things defensively with Neil having such as
And now she's been called out by Maureen Boyle.
2 centre passes. Who's your captain? Catherine?
Serious.
2 centre passes. May change someone to centre. Deliberate.
It's being removed from the
Vicky Neal
court
is
for
off
2
now.
centre passes. That's a first.
Have not seen that before in this competition. In the 5 years, I think, that we've been televising this.
Well, in elite Australian netball, you'd have to say, and of course the ruling is that they can remove someone from the court for any period of time. It's up to the umpire. Now, Contacts have the right to make a positional change so that they can continue to take their centre pass, which is what they'll have to do, but they will play 1 short for 2 centre passes when Neil will re-enter the game. So that's just sensational stuff.
It looks like Audine Cobb will play centre, and I just had the feeling of the last few minutes that Maureen Boyle was growing impatient with the way she saw Contacts playing.
Maureen Boyle, of course, regarded by many as the #1 umpire in the country. She and Burton just with outstanding credentials and very fair. And I'd have to say they would be loath to take that measure. But certainly it's in the interests of the players in netball for that strong stance to be taken so that we don't lose someone through
Advantage contact.
rough tactics. And as you've said, the warnings have come out to a couple of players that the setting up and the causing will not be tolerated.
A chance then for Melbourne to build the lead, because we're just under 2 minutes now away from three-quarter time.
Melbourne. Sideline. Play.
McInnes.
Vantage contact centre.
Benison. So it's really beholden for
Pass or shot.
Melbourne to punish contacts playing one short. Looks like they're going to do it. Southby. She's still off for the next centre pass. And it's Melbourne's. So the lead could be 9.
Well, just glancing across at the contacts bench, and there's a lot of chat going on. Obviously, they will be feeling very uncertain and unsure as to how to play this from now on, and that Angove obviously checking with Neil exactly what had happened and what the call was.
Now
they're re-entering.
The bench, contacts bench gets up.
Time. Quickly.
Head to 2 centre
No
passes.
discussion.
Just come back on.
Maureen
Not
Boyle
an injury time.
cautioning that there's no discussion to happen, none at all to take place. It's not an injury time, it's simply someone re-entering the game. Positional switch on again as Neil takes up centre responsibilities, and you can well understand there's a pretty glum expression on her face.
Angove, Wilson.
Contact.
And contact against Melbourne through Lynch on Angove.
Shot, yep.
So the shot for Angove or Wilson. Wilson will take it. Surprise, surprise.
Or swing defender.
Again, it goes against Dinan.
Whole time.
It's tight.
And time blown, and a sensational third quarter in which Vicky Neal, sent to the bench by Maureen Boyle for a duration of 2 centre passes, and Melbourne wasted no time making something of that opportunity, and they've stretched the lead to 8 after they were down by 5 at quarter time. So it's 38-30 at three-quarter time. Vicky Neal gets us underway in the final quarter. Contacts with quite a bit to do.
And possession fairly equal. Pumas with just the edge. The stats, though, high up on the Pumas side of the board. Have a look. 6 from 7 for Southby at 85%. Arnott 6 from 8 at 75%. Contacts in a real slump in that third quarter. Vicky Wilson 55%. I don't know that we've ever seen that with 5 from 9. Really showing the frustration she must be feeling. And you'd have to wonder about the positional switch with Angove entering the game to put up 1 from 3 at 33%.
Wing defender.
Wilson, goals.
Albert.
Vantage contact. Contact. Penalty pass. Just outside the circle.
Vantage obstruction centre.
Harvey with the steal. Beautiful work from her. Cobb on the fly to the circle, and guess who with the finish? Vicky Wilson.
And go down to Wilson. Oh, where did she come from?
I don't know, I'm going to ask you.
The Phantom.
She's had a great game, Janine Lynch. I mean, that was just wonderful to watch.
The ghost who plays netball. Arnott. Six the lead, 5 to play. Dynan. Angove under pressure. Wilson turns and shoots. They can't waste any time now, contacts.
And here's the Phantom, Wilson putting it to the top, and I still don't know where she came from, but it was great to watch.
Neither do Angove and Cobb, straight between them. Benison.
Oh, some slick work from Melbourne. This is a real coup for the young Melbourne side. If they can clinch this match, it'll really put pay to some of the doubting Thomases that felt it was lucky against Garville. They've proven that it was skill, and they've backed it up.
Riley, drop side.
Well, just a match of tremendous quality here. Sure, defence is dominated, but you'd be a hard netball fan to please if you didn't walk away from this match.
I think it's a sort of match
elated.
that steals a few converts from other codes.
Yeah. And just looking at the way this Melbourne lineup has played, you have to feel there's some more potential Australian players in there. You know, when you look at the years of netball they've still got ahead of them. Such is the depth anyway.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you look at Southby, who's in the under-21 lineup. You look at Taverner coming through, really pushing on the door of the open team.
Wing attack, goal third.
Contact, wing defence. Penalty pass. Advantage contact. Both players have contact instruction. Both out.
Angove, Harvey, Wilson.
Advantage contact, shooter.
3 minutes left, 5 the lead. Tough road back now for contacts. And except when they made a shaky start, Melbourne, they've shown no signs of being susceptible to pressure here. You know, as you've said from the outset, they're a very composed team, and that says not just a lot about them, but about Norma Plummer's ability to instill that in them.
What's been impressive is they have the ability to continue to attack, but in measured doses. So whilst there's flair, they still are being quite contained in disposal of the ball.
Great pass, picks up Benison.
And whilst there's congestion, they just seem to have a way of popping out to release the pass and release the congestion. And come away with a rebound.
And Harvey walks away in disgust. Beaten for the rebound. Eloise Southby asking for time to be called. She's received a knock to the head. Now she has a plea heard. 2 minutes to go. Melbourne up by 7. Can't lose it from here, surely. Southby. Well, I don't know if her dad as a fullback ever scored too many goals for Carlton, but he'd be pretty proud of the way she's helped steer Melbourne home here. Last year, Contacts defeated the Melbourne side, although last year it was Kia's by 55 to 40. Contacts went on to take the title.
Contact.
They're heading for their 3rd loss in Mobile League. Contacts. I want to be sure to win their last game to make sure of their place in the semis. I think they're safe.
And amongst an impressive lineup, hasn't Simone McInnes just been immaculate? She's been rock steady, absolute control from her, whilst there's been a spree of warnings on court. None anywhere near Simone McInnes. Absolute control and really playing a good captain's game. As you said earlier, leading by example, able to create the turnover and always steady and settling.
Wilson. And Wilson has scored some of the more spectacular goals of the game, but she hasn't had enough of the ball to be a winning influence. Toss-up between Wilson And Ingrid Dick when she gets to her feet.
I quite feel for Vic Wilson. I think it's been quite a volatile lineup that she's played at the back of, and it's been very difficult for her to produce her best, you know, World Championship campaign coming up, and this perhaps hasn't been an ideal preparation for her. It's been quite disorganised up the front of her.
Timekeeper's up. Melbourne are going to win this one. And full time is blown in a sensational match. Many controversial aspects to it. Vicky Neal benched for a time. Plenty of contact, but plenty of great netball as well. And 46-40, the final score to Melbourne. They retained their unbeaten record in the Mobil League for 95. I'm sure Norma Plummer is very pleased with all 7 players on court tonight. Anne Sargent is with defender Liz Taverner.
Thanks, Steve. Well, it was a game that had it all. Liz, a bit of a slow start for you, but you came through with the goods.
It certainly was slow. I think both teams were really slow until the final quarter where everyone turned it on.
Seems to be a little bit of a pattern. We watched you against Scarville be the underdogs to start, but really come through and run them down.
The whole team is playing really well, and I think it is the best position to be underdogs. And the other team is a bit wary. They're really not sure what we're going to pull, you know, the goods, what we're going to pull on them.
There seems to be a new sense of pride in your team. Is it from a background that Melbourne hasn't been up in the top company at national level for a while? Do you feel that it's on your shoulders to perhaps re-establish that for Victoria netball?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Nationals for Victoria hasn't gone so well, as we all know, in the last few years. But we've got a great team in the lineup for this year with Melbourne Waverley Pumas, and we're just looking forward for the finals.
Well, skills aside, because they were spectacular, the other aspect of the game that was quite sensational was the removal of a player, which we haven't really seen before. What did it feel like on court to sense that the warnings were coming and then to actually see someone leave the court?
Yeah, it was really unusual because I've never been involved in a game where a player has been removed, so it's the first time in my 14 years of playing. So I'm not sure. I was quite surprised at it.
I guess just happy you weren't the person off the court.
That's right, Anne.
Well, Steve, Melbourne obviously concentrating on the skills and not the physical side, and really shaping up to look the goods towards the semi-finals, but aware that there's a lot of hard work still ahead.
Thanks, Anne. And Goal Attack continues on Saturday when we're in Canberra for the match between Sydney Electricity and Melbourne Pumas. This game to have a significant bearing on the top 4 positions as we hit the final round.